Hello everyone, welcome back to the Wheel of Wonders. This is episode 5, coming hot off of our monstrosity of a coaster last time with the name Colossus. The challenge for that video was we had to build this free coaster within a 150 foot by 150 foot grid. That's what the wheel forced us to do. And we did it. We built 13 elements. Here is that build in the park, and it's quite literally in the middle of everything, and it towers over the entire park. I mean, it's appropriately named. The wheel chose all these different elements that I had to somehow merge into this 150 foot grid, and we were given the Star Loop coaster model, which is already a weird enough one to work with, as you see this huge shaft. And then of course, to top it all off, we were given the mythology theme, which is where Colossus comes from. This is where the Poseidon statue comes from, and yeah, trying to make it all look realistic. Quite an episode. If you have not seen it, go and watch it. Absolutely, it was an all-time video. With that said, I think there's nothing left to do but to jump to today's challenge wheel and figure out what the wheel is going to constrain us to in this episode. Here is our challenge wheel. It is updated as of 2 days ago, I believe, and I've included a lot of different suggestions from last video, so thank you to all those people. I believe we have 6 new ones in total, around that number. Those new ones being, must include a swing launch, and I think I might have just added that one just because of the newest update. No more than 1 vertical negative G-force, and that one is a little bit of a mouthful, but that one is maybe the hardest one on here. Original comment actually asked for 0, and I was doing some playing around with it to see if it was plausible, and to maintain it being at least somewhat fun, I made it 1. It basically means that this thing has to crawl over any airtime hills. Your butt cannot leave the seat. Basically, is the best way to put it. That's going to be difficult. This other one was somebody who suggested that we have to break a world record. I love that one. Somebody suggested that we play with the friction settings, so minimum friction, maximum friction, so basically a super fast coaster, super slow coaster. Must interact with a flat ride. I can't remember if somebody suggested this or if this was me, but this is relative to the last episode, the one I just showed you. Instead of having like a big stair tower, we were going to do an observation tower, like a flat ride. But it didn't really pan out that way. Somebody suggested a terrain coaster, pretty self-explanatory. A lot of terrain terraforming there if we do that. Then we have it Can't Break the Tree Line, which reminds me of that Harmonic Hills scenario from Rollercoaster Tycoon. I think that's what it was called, where you couldn't build above the tree line. And then finally we have it must be mostly indoors or underground, and that was suggested by somebody who wished that we did an entire indoor coaster. I just took the liberty of making it mostly. So I think with all that said, let's just spin the wheel and see what we're working with today. No real preference here, I guess just something interesting. Well, there's a new one. Must break a world record. This is one of the 6 or 7 that we just added. So congrats to whoever commented that in the last video. You just won being the challenge for this video. Alright, here's our wheel with the major roller coaster records. This is straight from Wikipedia. I did some more digging around, and really these are the 7 or so that kind of stand out. Those being most inversions, which is held by the Smiler at Alton Towers. Steepest drop, that's TMNT Shellraiser at Nick Universe. Tallest coaster, of course, Falcon's Flight. Longest drop, also Falcon's Flight. Fastest speed, I think, is split between Formula Rossa and Falcon's Flight. It's either of those two. Fastest acceleration used to be Dododonpa, but now I believe it is Stealth at Thorpe Park. And then length, which is Steel Dragon 2000. Let's spin it and see which record we're breaking in this coaster. As the wheel starts to lag. Alright. Fastest speed. I mean, super straightforward. Okay, so here is the roller coaster database record holders for speed. It looks like Falcon's Flight is faster than Formula Rossa, but just by a few miles per hour, and I guess the asterisk is there because, yeah, not currently operating. We have to beat 155.3 miles per hour. That's not that bad. So here's our wheel of every single coaster model in the game Planet Coaster 2. For the fastest coaster challenge, I want to have a launch coaster. I really don't want to do like a Falcon's Flight type of build where it's like 550 or whatever insane number it is. Let me first see how many launch coasters in the game can actually even go to 150 miles per hour. Alright, so here is our wheel with every coaster model removed except for launching coasters. So these are all the launching coasters in the game apart from the B&M over the shoulder and the Mach LSM launch, but everything else is here. Let me quickly research which ones can even touch 150 miles per hour, and if the list is too small, then I guess we will have to build some insanely tall coaster. Alright, so I just did some testing, and in the bottom left here are coasters that cannot break 100 miles per hour. I'm going to say these guys are all X'd. That being the multi-dimensional coaster, the Schwarzkopf looping shuttle, and the Vector family coaster. On the bottom right here is coasters that can reach 100 miles per hour, but only 100 miles per hour. I think these guys can actually stay. We're just going to have to include them with like a steep drop like Falcon's Flight. You can see a lot of these coasters here. I hope we don't get this guy. Nobody wants to see a 150 mile per hour Wicked Twister. And then these three, the main eventers, these guys can break the record with just their launch because they have the pneumatic air-powered launch, whatever it's called. So I'm going to include all of these on the wheel, X these three, and depending on which one we get, decides if we have a 150 mile per hour launch or if we have to get a little creative with it. I just hope we don't get the impulsion, like literally anything else. Okay. Launch hydraulic. That's the race car looking one, I believe. Alright, so launch hydraulic, as you can see there, is it's equivalent to the Intamin accelerator model. And this is one of the three that can do a launch that reaches the record. To be honest, thank goodness. It does have race cars. Here's what that train looks like. We can also change it to the standard, which looks really boring. I actually used this for my Pantherian video. I don't know. Depending on the theme, maybe we keep it as the F1 cars. Maybe we don't. I cleared out some trees and I added this path here because I think we want to build a coaster here. I think it also, if we make the launch go that way, we have a chance to do a really cool cutback element. I really wanted to build something here because this looks like a really tidy place to build something, but it's just the world's fastest coaster needs space to run, I think. Let me just build all the foundational stuff and then I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so there's all our foundational elements done. I added the brake run. That felt like the responsible thing to do, is to build that now. Built this little pre-launch section, and then of course the launch itself, which is set at 157 miles per hour. Just to confirm that it does reach 157 miles per hour, keep an eye on the speed and just look at that 157 and look at that thing fly. The acceleration on this thing is gnarly. What's left to do besides figure out what element is going to follow this? I mean, this is going to be like this element might genuinely be the size of this. Alright, here's the coaster element wheel. It has every single coaster element from Coasterpedia, as well as some that I could come up with myself. We are back to having every single one back in play. Last episode we used 13 different elements for Colossus, and we finished with I think 10 remaining, so I felt like it was time to reset the wheel. So everything is fair game, including those ones. So let's see what follows the new fastest launch in the world. It could literally be anything. Step up underflip. I think we just had this in the Lost episode. Yes, okay, so step up underflip it's almost like a 0G roll that like dives to the left, like to the side. The world's largest step up underflip is actually at Hershey Park. You can actually see it here, and I'll include a video, like I think I did in the Lost episode. Here is our step up underflip on Abyss, which was in the Lost episode. This is a pretty lousy interpretation of it. We were working with less than 2,000 feet for this episode, so this one is going to be the new biggest step up underflip in the world. Yeah, so it is a cutback element, which is perfect because we are getting a little bit cornered here. But this thing is going to be genuine. I mean, look at that thing fly. This is genuinely going to be as tall as that. So be prepared for another eyesore. At least it's in the corner of the park. There's our step up underflip done, which genuinely I can barely even get in frame. That's how tall this thing is. There are trim brakes. I know, you can hear the chorus of boos already, but they are absolutely necessary because this thing is how tall? 626 feet. We're like 150 feet taller than that thing. Yeah, it was gonna need brakes. And in my defense, Formula Rossa has trim brakes. So yeah, I mean, just what are we doing here? What is this? I mean, just look at the thing go. I need to fix that. That's sharp. All right, step up underflip is removed. Let's see what follows after it, and will also probably be a huge element. Dog tongue. That's a new one. We have not had dog tongue yet. I don't know what a dog tongue is. So it's only on one ride, and it's on Max Force at Great America, which is also up there with one of the fastest accelerating coasters in the world. So this may actually be kind of appropriate for this ride. It's an inversion that is similar to a rollover, and that's it. That's all it gives me. Okay. It looks like a banana roll. Does it not? With this grainy photo? I'm gonna attach a POV and I'm gonna watch it myself and see if I can get a gist. But it looks like a banana roll, like an extended banana roll. Alright, so I'm watching the POV along with you guys. And this train looks exactly like the one we're working with. So this is actually completely appropriate for the coaster we're working with. And I guess that's the dog tongue there. Oh, okay. So it's crossing over. So like this crossover here, a banana roll wouldn't do that. So okay, so it's a banana roll that kind of like turns 90 degrees. So I'm gonna have it go up here and then dive left and come this way, which is perfect. That's actually perfect. Alright, so there's our dog tongue done, which I think I did right. I don't really know. It's a cool looking element. These are trims. I know they look horrible because the trims on this model are on the thinnest track possible, so it just doesn't look realistic whatsoever. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. And you can see it takes this at a much better speed. And then it swoops back down. And then we're coming in probably, let's see what we're at. We're coming in at 105 miles per hour. I think that's much better. Alright, dog tongue is removed. Let's see what follows. It was cool that we got it, because we didn't get it at all in any of the first 4 episodes. A demonic knot. Okay, we had that last episode. So a demonic knot is unique to one coaster at Hyde Park. It is 2 0G rolls it's basically a 0G roll that turns and like swoops almost completely into another 0G roll. Our demonic knot on here was altered to fit within the 150-foot grid, but this is it here. Basically, if this swept out more and the 0G roll kept kind of going that way, that would be a better demonic knot. So that's what we're going to build now, and it's going to be the biggest demonic knot ever. Alright, so there's our demonic knot done, which is huge. It is huge. We are coming in at 100 miles per hour. I don't know how it takes it relevant to speed. So I do love this sweeping turn. This is the type of element you would see on a coaster going at this speed. You wouldn't be seeing all these crazy elements. It's a lot more about these sweeping turns and these bends and all those fun things. Alright, we can now see every single element now that the demonic knot is removed. So that takes away some of the suspense, but now we can see what we're going to land on. So let's spin. Cutback? Barely, yes, a cutback. Okay. I think I know what a cutback is, but I don't want to assume. Okay, so a cutback is what I thought it was. It's basically a corkscrew, but if you took half of it and like mirrored it, instead of having it continue the way it came in, it basically is a turnaround. So Fire, that's what this photo is from. I don't know if it was the first one, but that's the one I can think of. Pretty simple stuff, basically just a corkscrew. Another element that we have not had yet. So 2 on the same coaster is pretty solid stuff. So I guess there we go. Pretty easy, I guess. It's almost like a inverted top hat. Yeah, not bad. I like that. There's like enough G-forces there where I think it's, you know, it's forceful but still comfortable. And we're also coming back inside like this. So let's say maybe we get 2 more depending on the size of them. Yeah, this thing is just interesting, to say the least. Alright, cutback has been removed. 2 elements that have not been used in the first 4 episodes is pretty good stuff, so happy about that. Let's see what follows the cutback. Rollover. I saw that, by the way. I saw that saxophone. That would have been terrible. Worse than the spinning coaster. Anyway, rollover camelback. So we have had a rollover camelback. Actually, this would be the 3rd time because we had it on the Lost episode and then we brought it back for the next episode, the tower, because it was the Lost episode. I wanted to do it right by having it in the wheel. So this is actually the most used element thus far. So the first time we had it was here, and actually it's going through it right now, where it like swoops up. It almost is like the non-inverting cobra roll, except if it's swung to the side. We also had it here as the last element, but this is almost closer to like a non-inverting loop because this thing was constrained pretty severely. I'm thinking of having it do an airtime hill over the, I don't know, maybe I could do something fun here with an airtime hill and then have it swing this way, and then we're setting it up pretty nicely for a finale. Okay, I think that's kind of done. Yeah, I think it's pretty similar to that one. It's just at such a big scale. I mean, we're still working at 200-foot elements, which is just insane. All right, let's do maybe the last one, and then, yeah, we'll figure it out from there. All right, rollover camelback is removed. We went from having brand new elements, surprisingly, to having the third use of the rollover camelback. Kind of funny how that works. Let's see what potentially the last element is. Barrel roll. Okay, sure, that may actually allow room for another element. So a barrel roll is the same as a heartline roll, which is the track revolves around the guests, and it's very enjoyable while remaining very forceless. Colossus is a great example. Hydra, also at Dorney Park. Yeah, it's technically a JoJo roll, but I don't know if there's exactly a difference. We have had this before on the dueling coasters. We had a downward one. I'm probably about to do an upward one because it just we're on the ground. It just makes the most sense as the train just dies. I think that's enough banking offset that it's okay. We are done. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. Very long, very extended. But I feel like actually might be appropriate for the size of the ride. Yeah, we're kind of in a bad spot right now, so maybe this was a mistake. But let's see what the next element is, and then this will probably definitely be the last one. All right, barrel roll is removed. Technically the heartline roll is still on here, so we could get that. I hope a cutback, but I really don't know. The top hat. Okay. The reason I'm laughing is because top hats are typically at the beginning of coasters like these launch coasters, especially accelerators. And it's at the end. So that kind of makes me laugh. Top hat is pretty self-explanatory. It's just like Top Thrill Dragster or King to Call, like this that top part of this moment. Storm Runner, you can see it. I mean that's really it. It's pretty simple stuff. I think I'm gonna have it spin to the left here. Top hat, brake run. I think that can be pretty smooth. Alright, there's our top hat done. Pretty interesting. This area is becoming very fascinating. This tower all of a sudden has competition visually. It's gonna have this sweeping turn in front of it. Top hat looks really nice, then it just turns perfectly pretty much into the brake run. I don't like that it's turning there, so there we go. I adjusted that so now it's straight when it comes to the brake run, so that looks pretty good. And like I said, it is ironic that it's the last element because that is typically the first element. But I think that that's pretty much the layout done, to be honest. I guess let's just kind of, I want to see how it takes the top hat first before we move on to the theme wheel. Goes through the barrel roll there and then pretty much swoops downward. That looks fun. And then it comes up into the top hat, which it is too slow. Great. All right, so now I have to lower it. All right, there we go. So that's even shorter. We should be good now. While we are waiting for that, I did set this. By the way, you guys suggested that I set it to 30 miles per hour. I did, and it's still having the same problem. So I don't know if the model's just broken or whatever, but it is interesting. I don't know. All right, it's coming up to the top hat, which it looks like it'll make. Barely, but it is good. It does work. And then the brake run. Yeah, that's pretty nice. That's a good speed. All right, so I think there we go. We are good with the layout. So this thing is an absolute monster. Whatever theme we get will be interesting. I don't really know. Alright, so here's our theme wheel. It is updated. We have 6 new themes that we have added. because of suggestions from you guys, as well as new DLC being sorcery. So really 5 new additions. The additions that you guys had suggested include spy, that's a good one. Racing, that would be literally perfect for this one. Winter/snow, like that one. Backlot movie set, so like Backlot Stunt Coaster at King's Dominion and Kings Island, that's a good one. US Commercial Corporate, this is an extension of somebody's idea of Six Flags theming where there's just advertising everywhere. I thought it'd be kind of funny to kind of modify that a little bit. Like the stereotypical like American like highway or like Grayscape with like malls and there's just huge billboards and McDonald's signs and everything, and just like plaster this thing with ugly corporate commercial branding. Otherwise, let's spin it. Half of these are suggested by you guys, half of these are in the game. So let's see what we get. Racing would be perfect with Jenna. All right. So Winter/Snow is actually the first viewer suggested theme, which is pretty awesome because these 4 have all been in-game themes. So this is going to require a lot of custom stuff, which is pretty fun, pretty unique. This has to be a mountain. There's no doubt about that. This 600-foot thing absolutely has to be a mountain. My only concern is that there's no snow in the game, so I don't really know what I'm gonna do there. Like, yeah, like this is like as close as it gets. I don't know. I thought that they added colorable rocks. Maybe they did, because none of these are white. Custom rock. Does that mean I can change this? Yes. Okay. Okay. So there can be snow. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So yes, there will be snow. Thank you to whoever suggested that theme. Should be a really fun one. So I'm going to work on that, and it's probably going to take me a few hours, but for you guys, it'll just be a few moments. It seemed like the majority of you were pretty impartial when it came to seeing the scenery being built, so I'm just going to stick with what's been working. Don't fix it if it ain't broke, I guess. And so you guys, it'll be just a few moments. For me, it'll be a few hours probably. So see you then. All right, everybody. Welcome back. This might be the most jarring transition from before and after that we've had thus far. Maybe even more than the last one. Maybe it doesn't look like that much from this angle. But maybe try this one. I mean, come on. I mean, it shrinks this one just in pure scale. And it even, as you guys saw on the track layout, it goes over here and bridges underneath the path. It just extends so far out, but the real meat of all of it is happening here. And what a great theme. First of all, this was so fun to work with and so challenging as well because there's no winter theme. So most of it was actually me using the sorcery theme, as you can kind of see here, and then obviously with the station itself, which I love how this turned out. Sorcery pack has some great DLC for some gothic architecture. Basically, that's kind of the whole theme I went for. The name of the ride is Moroi, which is based off of a Romanian folklore legend of like a ghostly vampire type of thing. It's also a character in Phasmophobia, so people that play Phasmophobia, you might recognize that name. But it just felt fitting because I'm kind of getting a Transylvanian vibe, so I just thought, why not? And yeah, it kind of fit with the gothic type of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just really fun to work with. A lot of custom supports that look pretty nice. I'm really happy with some of these custom supports. Like, I'm not huge. The only thing I don't like is I'm not a huge fan of how like now the vista's kind of broken up here, but I think it's light enough that it's okay. And we're gonna have 3 other sides where you're gonna approach it from. Like here, you still kind of get that. So that's fine. But like all of these A-frames, any of these big supports, this dog tongue, my goodness, was this a monster to support. It looks fairly solid. I'm happy with it. It looks somewhat realistic. Everything in this element is custom supported. As you see the train just coming down. The snow looks really good. That was done with custom rocks that I just painted white with a blue hue. With the texture, at least from a distance, it looks like snow. When you're up close, it looks like rocks, but it is what it is. These supports are custom. I love this flying dive. This step-up underflip is so cool. Like when you're riding it, and it flies over the top of this hill. I was thinking about putting some there, that's why there's a green patch there, but I decided not to. It's just that clearance is really tight, but it just looks so cool. And then it just goes down this huge side of the mountain, and it looks awesome. I mean, there's not much else to say than that. It goes through the rocks, up to that huge dog tongue, and then this demonic knot is just phenomenal. The huge 0G roll here where it flies through the A-frames, a lot like Gatekeeper is what it reminded me of, through the mountain, through a huge tunnel, back out here through that other 0G roll into this huge dive into this valley where you get that really cool cutback, again with some custom supports, some buttresses to kind of have some head chopper elements, This airtime hill was not an element that we picked, but I decided to add it to support that rollover camelback, and I love it. I love how it flies over this launch, which we didn't even really talk about this launch. I created this like mini pre-show area, which is really not that at all. It's just like a little platform that has snow that sprays at you and all that fun stuff. But it launches through all these different centerpieces and just scales up this mountain, which is going right now. Yeah, I mean, this thing's gnarly. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to say besides this thing rocks? This thing is awesome. I'm really happy with this. So yeah, to be honest, I don't know if there's much else to cover than that. Like, I guess I could show a little bit more in the station. I gave the train a little bit of some custom work, nothing crazy, but this little castle looks fantastic. Just flying buttresses are one of my favorite architectural features. I think they look so nice, and Gothic architecture in general is just such a powerful style. So it was super fun to work with. So shout out to the person that recommended the winter theme. That was an absolute grand slam of a recommendation. A lot of love for that. Yeah, I think really there's nothing else to do besides show that cinematic, which should be so fun to do with just, I mean, like, let me kind of give you a sneak peek of what this thing looks like with the sun setting behind it. Like, come on, dude. Like, that rocks. It literally sets perfectly behind. So there's definitely going to be some awesome shots that I'm gonna do with that, but this thing is a monster. It completely takes up this corner of the park. It's 200 feet taller than this. This thing was originally supposed to be the tallest thing in the park, and it lasted one episode. It's still obviously the centerpiece for the park, but at all times you can now see this huge mountain. I mean, like, let's just like walk over here to the dueling coaster. Look at that. Like, that's so sick. Anyway, let's cut over to the cinematic. Thank you to everyone for your recent support. You guys have been so awesome lately. Much love for that. Thank you all, and take care. I'm excited for the next episode.